Am I the butthole for not letting our nanny leave for a date during our vacation? My wife and I had our first child last year, and it's been quite an intense few months. My wife has been on an extended maternity leave, but on top of that, we've also hired a nanny maid to assist us with the baby as well as keep the house in order. She stays in our guest house. To celebrate our anniversary, I planned for us to take a trip by ourselves just to reconnect and give her some proper time away from our son. She was excited about leaving but was slightly concerned about leaving our son behind. Her mother was going to come down and babysit with the nanny. Trying to ease things, I asked the nanny if she'd be willing to come along with us on our trip and take care of the baby, stressing that this was supposed to be our couple vacation, so most of the child care will be hers, and more than usual. She jumped at the idea, and so I also arranged her ticket and accommodation. To be clear, she was also paid extra for the overtime. The trip was a week long, and our arrangement was going quite well at first. My wife was relaxed, we reconnected, and our son was close by for whenever we missed him. We would take our son and give her a break either in the mornings or afternoons. On our last day, she asked if we could take the night shift as she'd met someone who'd asked her on a date. Besides that going against our arrangement, the point was to give us a break from the sleepless nights. I'd already paid and planned an intimate date on the beach with my wife for our last night. It became a bit of an issue with her trying to guilt my wife and saying we were being unfair, but by the end of it we didn't give in, and she looked after the kid. Upon returning, my wife heard her on the phone saying that she was thinking of quitting over all of this, and that we were blocking her future. Wife thinks we made a mistake. I don't disagree that it might have been asshole-ish, but ultimately it was our arrangement and she was paid extra for it. Are we the assholes?
Am I the butthole for not taking any of the blame for my stepsisters learning the truth? A few days ago, my two younger stepsisters, ages 9 and 8, found my therapy journal in my room after my mom decided she wanted to do a deep clean of my stuff and clear out unwanted junk. Now I'm not sure if I totally believe that. But basically, she recruited my stepsisters to help her out, and they went through my desk and found the journal and then read it, all while my mom was in the room. They became upset with what they read, and my mom then takes it off them and reads it too. I, 17F, was at my grandparents' since the previous day and arrived home to them in the living room with the girls crying and my mom and stepfather glaring at me. BG. I started in therapy age 10 after my mom and stepfather married. 2 years prior, I had lost my dad to a heart condition, and my stepsister's mother also died, but the details around that have always been very secret. My mom told me just before the wedding that she and my stepfather were expecting me to be a good big sister to my stepsisters, and to really take an interest in bonding with them because I was so much older. I told her they weren't my siblings, and I didn't want to be their big sister. She and my stepfather then decided that I needed therapy, and so I was sent to therapy. My therapist had me use the journal to figure out more of my feelings. Those were things like I resented my mom for expecting so much of me, I resented her for remarrying so fast after dad died, and only giving me 4 months to get to know her husband, and never asking me what I thought of him before they got engaged. They were married within a few weeks of the engagement. I realized I didn't hate the girls, but was indifferent to them, and had no interest in being their big sister. It also made me realize through the years of therapy that no point came where I would stay in their lives if my mom and her husband divorced. When my mom and my stepfather separated for a period of time, I was happy. All that stuff was in the journal, and I kept it because I still occasionally see my therapist. My stepsisters read a lot of the stuff about them, between my stepfather telling them I had done all this stuff for them that I hadn't, like he bought them bracelets and said they were from me, etc., which I only found out that day, and apparently, and my lack of outright being cold to them, they thought I loved them and that we were sisters forever, no matter what. My mom and stepfather demanded that I apologize and make amends for the insensitive and mean-spirited things I wrote. They told me I needed to take accountability for what I wrote in that journal and for feeling that way. Once the girls were out of the room, I told them it was not my fault, and if anyone was to blame, it was mom for inviting them to look through stuff in my room and then not watching them if that's actually how things went down. Am I the butthole for not wanting my sister at my wedding since she is in a wheelchair and will take up all of the spotlight? My sister, 26, has been on and off out of the hospital. I am going to call my sister Anna. Anna got cancer when she was 15 and was able to beat it. Ever since she has been having growths, and anytime one appears, we are worried about the cancer coming back. My issue is that she always makes these announcements that she needs to go to the doctors again at the worst times. At the beginning, I thought it was just bad timing, but it has happened so many times when I hit a milestone. My graduations, my birthdays, my engagement party. Anytime she makes an announcement she needs to go back to the hospital, my whole family will flock to her. I have had my birthday dinner turn into my relatives flocking to her for the whole night. I had a dinner party to announce my wedding date for my relatives. It was going so great and it was a fun time until Anna told Mom she needs to go back to the hospital. Soon, everyone forgot about the reason for the dinner party, and it was quiet. My aunt even stepped in to do a prayer for Anna. Another event was taken over. I went low contact with her after that. She was invited to the wedding and it is in 2 weeks. I learned today she is on and off in a wheelchair from my mom, Anna. She will need to take it just in case for the wedding. I asked if the rest of the family was informed and she told me no. I told both of them they need to inform them. They told me they don't want to worry them and won't do that. I had enough and told them you need to tell before my wedding. Again, a no. I then informed them Anna is not invited. This started a huge argument about how I'm a jerk, and my point is that I am sick of her stealing the spotlight. That's what will happen if she rolls in with a wheelchair. Edit. I'm going to do a mass blast to all my relatives, saying she is in a wheelchair and unsure if she will be able to make it to my wedding. Keep my sister in their thoughts and prayers. I'm getting ahead of this. Am I the butthole for telling my older sister she can't be mad at me because others didn't praise her daughter's name but did my son's name? My older sister Viv, 33F, and I, 28F, had babies 3 days apart. My niece was born in October and my son was born in November. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks prior to my son's birth because of complications related to my pregnancy. Viv and I are not close. She annoys the ever-loving out of me most of the time. My younger sister Darcy, 26F, and I are super close though. But Viv and Darcy are not close. So according to Viv, she announced her daughter's name was Agnes Kathleen and had most people give very generic comments on the name. She said Darcy didn't say anything at all when she went with our parents to see the baby. I didn't get to meet my niece until everyone came to meet my son because I couldn't leave the hospital. When we announced our son's name was Cove, we did get some compliments on the name. Darcy and my dad loved the name and were cooing over it being super nice but different, to quote Darcy. We told our families first when they visited, and once they all knew, my husband announced it on social media. That's where Viv seems to have been really set off because a few days after I got home from the hospital, Viv called to complain that I got more enthusiasm for my son's name than she did for her daughter's. She asked why I had to give my son a weird name and told me it was dumb. I told her I didn't have the energy to deal with her. My husband also got a text from my sister. He went through all the social media comments and most of them were, "Love the name, sweet name, and congrats." It's not like people were tripping over themselves saying we chose the best name ever. He couldn't find her post, so he assumed she deleted it. But he told me he wasn't sure what got her so bent out of shape. In the last month, it has been crazy how much of a grudge Viv holds against me. She went on to blame me for Darcy and Dad liking my son's name more and for getting a better response online. She was pretty furious with me actually, and a few days ago, I told her she can't be mad at me for other people's reactions. And I pointed out that it's very much what she's doing. She told me I should be more understanding and heck me, etc. It's exhausting, and saying that to her only set her off more on me. I just don't have the energy for this, but now I wonder if I shouldn't have said that to her. Am I the butthole?